Okay.
All right, well, welcome to the Adelaide Microsoft IT Pro user group community meetup for the month of May.
Yes.
Myself, Andrew Young, and Brett Moffat, your hosts.
Mm-hmm.
Yay! We're off to get an ovation.
I know. It's very
Yes, I'm on board. You too.
Yeah, it's a bit of it's a challenging time of the day. That's why we usually hold it at 4. It's good to sort of finish their day on that.
I think it's a bit more challenging for our presenter,
But our presenter is, yes, absolutely a challenge for him.
it's roughly 11 or 30 midnight-ish.
It's 12:30 here. 12:30 a.m.
Already today for you.
Yes.
Good morning for overseas.
Yeah, it's just straight. Record it at some ungodly hour fast and then do a replay.
Yes, there you go. Yeah. All right, we'll get on with it. So Dan can
real quick one. Country, launching the lands that belong to the Ghana people. They're I mess with every time.
traditional custodians of the land that we meet on here today. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we pay respect to the cultural authorities of the Aboriginal people visiting and attending from within Australia, or South Australia, and Australians. I'll get it one day. Cool. So what's been happening? Last week was the Microsoft 365 conference over in, I believe it was Vegas.
Jet lag's still kicking in, though.
If only, yeah.
Yeah, finally, it would have been nice to go, that's for sure.
There was some big announcements. Head honcho Jeff Teeter and all were in attendance. So I'm just going to run through a few what's new coming out of that. First up, SharePoint Online. Lo and behold, they're also getting Copilot in SharePoint.
Yeah.
Yay. They called that very quickly. That was the new SharePoint Home or SharePoint Start page that's coming up. So you can create pages and news posts and etc. from here. You can see your pages, just a bit of telemetry on how your pages are going. But yeah, in the bottom right there, and you're talking to Copilot, quickly throwing together a page design with some content and some keywords, I guess.
Yeah. I think it'll be good to have Copilot in SharePoint. I think it's going to be really good because many organizations, such as Boeing, we use SharePoint as our repository for all our documentation, all our documents that we're sharing, what we're working on with customers and so forth. So being able to loop in Copilot into all that's going to be fairly critical to our business processes going forward.
There's several more slides. What I really like to see there is you're asking Copilot to set the theme or color theme of that page. Now, this used to be a whole lot of PowerShell and
Coding and messing about.
yeah, hex colors and stuff like that. But now it's just, hey, I want it pink, and it'll do it for you. You can tell already at the top there, it's on indigo rather than nice color.
Yep.
Else, yep. So in page creation, you've got Copilot assistance. So it seems like a really cheap and easy way to get a page up and going. So that's taking content out of that Word document, just throwing together a page design for you. Something that would take an hour or two just to think of doing. It's done in seconds, and you can even tell it to rewrite certain phrases. Yeah. We've got co-authoring in pages now, so just like in Microsoft Loop, you can see in Fluent's little UI there, you can see multiple people in the same text paragraph. You can see who's actually in this page, actively editing. So it's moving along. This is cool. As soon as it plays, it's not going to play. It never plays. But, yeah, that's pretty impressive because that's something you'd get from CSS, HTML, just full on web dev, and now you can kind of go, hey, I want this in SharePoint. There are a lot more impressive examples in place, but yeah, you've got your company logo, theme and branding all over the place. Speaking of branding, you get your style guide and your brand center now. So all your logo, fonts, images, color themes all in one place. I'm hoping this gets with the whole painstaking process of trying to make stuff work with the out of the box SharePoint.
Would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try that. It's good. I didn't see that.
And then there is advanced image editing. That's not going to play either, but I think there was cropping going on that top image. But this one's really cool. You've got the trimming on the edges there, so a lot more options. You don't have to edit the image yourself and then upload it. Worry about transparencies and stuff like that.
Do it natively.
Yeah, it's handy.
Yeah.
There's video pages. And there's a new stream web type. They're making it a lot nicer to showcase your company videos and recording.
Because they retired.
Stream Classic will retire in February, but it's all new stream video recordings. So you can go to SharePoint one part.
Yep.
And yeah, the current stream homepage is barren. It's something in SharePoint page, so this will make it a lot better.
Yeah, that's the place.
This was content management. So if this played, you can see a list of your different videos and other images and stuff on the editing pane. I don't know why it's not playing, but this is a good one. SharePoint News in Outlook. So we don't need to feed the contents of Outlook. We able to see news posts in SharePoint. And on top of that, you're able to share the pages to the Engage/Yammer for each. And there's just a quick roadmap. I think June, July, August for some of those in the next few months. And yeah, the Copilot stuff is coming roughly in November, December. So hold out for Microsoft Ignite. We'll likely do a whole bunch of, hey, look what you can do. We can now use it for you.
So it's some exciting stuff for SharePoint coming up this year. That's
SharePoint. One SharePoint, OneDrive. The new OneDrive homepage. Getting into that theme of having all the things in your face. I think one of the main things is just having more filters. Sure, there's something specific about this one, but it's just any file that's been shared with you. You can see activity history on there as well. You can filter by people, so what they've shared with you, and your meetings, so the files that are shared for the meeting.
It is really interesting to see this finally coming into fruition. Bill Gates originally had the, I think it was when Windows 7 was released, that he was saying that his vision was that people weren't worried about the operating system or what application they were working in. It was all about where their data was and their data, being able to access their data ubiquitously, wherever they are, know where that particular file is that they want to work on, and then just be able to work on it. This finally sort of coming to the end game of what it is here, So a lot of the stuff you spend a lot more of your time in here and in SharePoint, grab that document, hit go, and then Office just happens around it. And that's where Copilot will really come in and be more about the content, more about getting the job done rather than worrying about installing what app or what operating system you're on to actually have that application installed, or it's all about actually creating the concept of doing the job, which is very cool.
Iterating the UI UX, so having new underneath now and the color coded folders is pretty cool. I don't know if you notice now in your OneDrive, you've got folder backup turned on, your desktop, your documents, your downloads, they've got different all icons and colors. But this would be nice. Work if you work that way. There's a lot of people like categories and colored categories now.
My
be slow.
my Outlook calendar looks like a bloody Christmas tree with colours and stuff all over it. So, yep, works for me.
The new sharing experience, yet another one. Hopefully it doesn't take too much more. I know that'll be nice. Just so long as the selecting how you share it It's just as easy. I assume that's what will present you.
Mhm.
More intuitive than one where you click on the line instead of what you're doing. Trying to get through quicker. The team's files tab is now getting more of a OneDrive look, so it will get rebranded to get the same similar UI. And also new in Teams, it was National World or National, I don't know, it was High Five Day on April 20th, and they added in a thing where you emoji 2 high fives together, you'll get a together emoji.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think they're doing a lot more of these. It'd be nice if they added in like a reactive, you click theirs, you automatically do it, so that you have to dig through your list of emojis. Kept the Teams content light so that Dan can cover a lot more new stuff. That one. This is getting a lot of new updates and upgrades. So it's a lot more faster now. There is co-authoring in the list. Whatever it is. You can now create forms from this, which is pretty cool. Get another place to create forms. For people to create them and outmakers and business.
Still can't get lists online.
So
Galaxy to watch. It's the one thing I want.
Yeah, that's awesome. Being able to work out of the column fields directly. Yeah, and perform that way. We're doing a reciprocal building system within the column now, so you don't necessarily create a flow or an output altogether. So it's just handy. What's old? Yeah, we've got anything 2013, 2012, get rid of it soon, or already by now. And if it's extended support, very happy for a lot of products. There's a bunch more that's coming up later this year, and then some for next year as well. So just make sure you're keeping across those and patching where you can. And migrating there, yeah. Learning and skilling, so previously announced new betas coming, and they're here. So a couple of them have got the MV102 and the MS102. So you're still lucky to get one of the first 300 people to book it in. You get 80% off taking the beta exam. Usually you don't get results for about 1 or 2 months afterwards, but it's nice. Nice first thing.
That's always the challenge.
Yeah.
That's it.
We got some community go. So it's like about the Lowdown podcast. So threat intelligence group, well, last week. Office 365 user group, I believe next month. They just bounce back. Yeah, groups are going, and this user group as well. Running through very quickly. Field this month, we have Inspired a couple of months. Digital workplace conference. Moving on.
Do what?
Digital workplace conference.
I haven't.
That's not one of your things.
No. No.
That's
Not one of my things.
The Melbourne, also Sydney. Yeah,
No.
actually Clifton's Melbourne. Yeah, but I think nice straight. Way. So yeah. It's now where I want to change over. So our guest today is Dan Rey, over from Dallas.
Chicago area,
Chicago, the
So
other side.
north of Dallas.
Yeah.
Feeling.
All right. Cool. You're talking about Mesh, or the team's avatars and other new features. If you want to just start sharing your screen, and I'll flick you
Sure.
over the other side. Yep, I've lost my mouse. Good. Alrighty, when you're ready.
We lost him.
That's awkward.
He fell asleep.
Yeah.
Got too late. Did you have fun?
No.
Hopefully you can hear me successfully again.
hear you. We
And
can't
see my screen?
We can hear you, Dan. Just can't see the
Okay.
screen yet.
Okay, let's see if the screen is going to come up here.
All right, screen is up.
Excellent, excellent. So welcome everyone. My name is Dan Rey, and this is what happened the last time I used this particular computer for avatars in Microsoft Teams. I think it's got something to do with the amount of GPU load that I'm putting on this computer. And it does not seem real happy with using PowerPoint Live, so I chose to use just regular old PowerPoint on this computer. And then also the avatars capability. So we'll see if we can get avatars working again, or if avatars seem to be what's causing some issues here. There we've got my avatar up.
Yep.
And avatars are a fairly new feature in Microsoft Teams. It does require you to either be on the public preview or in a Microsoft TAP, Technology Adoption Program tenant. And I am using a TAP tenant this evening, morning, afternoon for all of you there. And very early morning for me in the Chicagoland area. Sounds like we've got somebody in the lobby, potentially. And I've got one other person I'm going to add to the lobby here. We'll see if we can pop over and let my friend Satya into the meeting as well. And Satya is using his avatar as well as I am using my avatar in the meeting. Satya's computer, however, doesn't have the overload of all the other things I'm doing on my computer with PowerPoint and other GPU work that's happening. So hopefully his avatar, even if mine is having some issues, will appear okay. So these are PowerPoint slides of my avatar so that if I have any issues with my avatar, I have some backup or some options besides just showing you slides and not having an avatar present. One of the things you can do with your avatars are from the More menu, the three dots, once you have the avatars available, your background effects, your video effects become effects and avatars. And from that menu, besides the raise your hand, which your avatar will raise their hand, the 5 reactions that you have by default. So I can raise Dan's hand, I can raise Satya's hand in the meeting. Those features are there at the top of Teams, and when you're using your avatar takes those non-verbal cues for you. But besides those, in your avatar menu, you even have at the very bottom experimental settings, as if I weren't having enough issues with my avatar already. They're adding these capabilities to do things like custom backgrounds on top of your avatar that you are using within Teams. And it mentions that you should only do this on high-end machines. And the machine I am using, and in my screenshot, I thought it was interesting that my avatar decided to take a little nap. The high-end machine that I'm using is a Surface Studio 2. Not a 2S, but the 28-inch $3,000 Microsoft Studio desktop computer that has an NVIDIA, I think it's a 1080 dedicated GPU in the system. That's not considered today a high-end machine. And as such, I've had some issues with this machine leveraging just everything that I've been doing with the avatars, PowerPoint, browsers, everything else that I have open. And when you encounter those types of issues on either a regular Surface device, a device without a dedicated GPU, graphics processing unit, or playing around with features like the custom backgrounds that warn you that they could put a heavier load on your computer, you'll get a warning typically in Teams that turning off your avatar may improve the performance that you have from this service. And what we saw right at the beginning at the handover can also happen. Sometimes I've had issues where Teams just turns off the video, which, if that's what you're here to talk about, is a little frustrating. Or Teams can decide, you know what, I've had enough, and the product can restart your connection, booting you out of the meeting and forcing you to come back into the meeting. So fortunately, my audio went kind of blank, so I knew something was going on from a Teams perspective and got back in pretty quickly. But if you're just rolling along and you don't realize your Teams connection has dropped, that can be extremely problematic if somebody's trying to reach out to you and you're not running Teams to realize that you're not in the meeting anymore, or if you're down to one monitor. I took a couple screenshots of what was happening with the GPUs in my different Surface devices. So here we see that I'm running a Surface Pro 8. So this is a Surface Pro 8 with a built-in Iris Intel GPU. And we can see that the load on the GPU at the time this screenshot was taken was about 16%, using about an eighth or so of a quarter of the GPU memory, and that percentage has popped around a little bit. And then this is a screenshot where I was using that custom graphics background. So this is a graphic of a photo that's in our dining room. So when I sit in our dining room, this is actually my background without using a custom background, but I decided to take a picture of it, use it as a custom background with an avatar. And you can see that with that in the same Surface Pro 8, I'm getting about 24% utilization, and the GPU memory is popping around. When you first go into that effects and avatars menu, this is where, besides your hand raising features and your 5 default reactions, so applause and clapping, applause, heart, thumbs up, laughter, and surprised. So I can give any of those reactions. Let's have Satya give us a little giggle here. I've got all of these at my disposal, from the raise your hand and the reaction menu. So Satya and I can give each other a little heart back and forth. But I can also now pin avatar reactions to the menu. So if I bring over my live window here and we look at the effects and avatar menu, besides getting some new video effects, under avatars, I have the avatar I chose, and then I have decisions about what I want the avatar to do. And it looks like my avatar has decided to take another little nap. Let's see if we can bring it back up here. And the feature has caused your video to stop working. So either I've got that same situation where my GPU has decided to get a little warmer, which is something I noticed. It's at 63 centigrade. Typically my GPU in the Surface Studio is at about 55 centigrade, between 50 and 55, I would say. And my GPU memory, we can see here, is at 5 gig out of 14 gig. And the dedicated GPU memory is fairly high. So that in this GTX 1080 is giving me an indication, 1060 is giving me an indication of, that I'm putting a load on that and that I'm having problems with the avatars. But you can see the different choices I have here. Robot dance, shake head for no, like, there's tons of different things that I can have my avatar do. The other thing you'll notice about avatars in this is that the avatars themselves do not use your video. It's separate from your video feed. So when I have my avatar turned on, my video camera is off, and my avatar is turned on in Teams as opposed to my actual video. And I can go into editing my avatar, which will bring up the avatar builder. If your avatars are successful and working on your system. So right now it's telling me I've got an issue with the avatar builder because I'm having an issue with the heat produced, in all likelihood, from this computer. And the best way for me to correct this in what I've seen so far is to restart the Teams client and release some of that video memory. The other thing I'm going to try here is a PowerPoint Live as opposed to a video where we're using it live. And what I was able to do, and we'll see if it's happy with this or not, if we're using the, the video avatar isn't showing up there, but you can use in PowerPoint Live the cameo function, which will use the same video camera that I was using earlier, can also be used to display your avatar instead of your actual video. So on the slide where I show my calendar, this is the easiest place I have found in Teams to go into a meeting and not have other people invited to the meeting. So I can pop into this window, click on Meet Now in the upper right, and from the Meet Now functionality, I have the ability to turn on either my avatar, my video, and then if I have the avatar embedded in my PowerPoint, the avatar will show up. So I changed the homepage of my PowerPoint to put a video behind me. And instead of the avatar just having kind of the green screen look almost, when you add it to PowerPoint, instead of getting the cameo window with your video, you'll get the cameo window with your PowerPoint and the avatar. And the placeholder, of course, if you're familiar with Cameo, which was released probably a year ago in PowerPoint builds, just allows you to use a video source and size that video source appropriately for your slides. So as opposed to having a video that's always in the lower right, where you might have like a link or your company or branding, you can move your Cameo window around within your slides. And similar to what I had in the PC version, I can see the same types of statistics if I'm using avatars on a Mac computer. So I can take a look at the GPU load on a Mac computer as well. Let me go ahead and share my screen again here so that folks can see what's going on my real computer. So if we go to, I think it was slide 16, if memory serves, there's my Cameo placeholder on one side of the screen versus the right side of the screen. So when I have the Cameo on the right and maybe positioned to not cover up different elements, if I have another slide where my information is to my right, I can move my Cameo video to the left within the positioning of the slides. If I get rid of my video placeholder there and we drag this window over here. Have folks used Cameo? Andrew?
I haven't yet, no.
Okay.
No, I haven't either.
It's fairly new. So the idea is from the insert menu in PowerPoint. You have this Cameo object to the far right. And the object comes in as a circle by default. So you can resize the circle. You can decide if it's sitting on top or behind your content. So if it's sitting on top of my content, you can't see the text unless I put the text on top of my video, and maybe decide where to move it and resize my text versus my video. But I can make all those types of adjustments. And then if I look at my transitions, I can have the morph transition, morph my Cameo for me. So my video shows up kind of in the upper right because I'm wearing a black shirt. Maybe I need to think about my text on top of my Cameo image. But as I move to the next slide, Cameo should do like a transition of the video there. And I was playing around with Spanish and I think Portuguese subtitles last time I used that. So Cameo is one of the other features that I have used pretty extensively with both the avatar features within Teams and then just standalone within this this particular computer. Microsoft is also in the TAP program. Take new, and there I just got a black. I'm gonna flip over to my other computer here for audio.
That's terrifying.
Hopefully folks can still hear me. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear? Excellent. Look at that. This will give me an opportunity to give the other computer a quick restart of Teams to see if that corrects my issue with the memory and the CPU utilization or GPU utilization. Yeah, excellent. So this computer that I'm using now is my Surface Pro 9 computer. So unlike the GPU that I showed you earlier, you'll notice that here I'm using a GPU from Qualcomm. I'm using about the same amounts of GPU horsepower in the computer. But in my Teams window, I've got my avatar set up. And if we go into that effects and avatar menu, and we look at the different options that I have here, showing all the reactions that are available, gives you pages of different options to choose from, like an ASL thank you. I can do a chef's kiss. And by default, when I've gone in here, the pinned avatar reactions were the same reactions that I had at the top of Microsoft Teams. And then at the very bottom, besides the function that we just talked about earlier in the slides, I also have the ability to take a look at the avatars function from a standpoint of where the focus is. So I can put a camera to the left or right of my avatar. And then I also have that experimental settings with custom backgrounds available. But using those features along with the avatar functionality is something that, like I said, I've had mixed results, and it puts a heavier load on the computer that you're using. So my GPU has returned to about, it's under 50 degrees centigrade. It looks like Teams may have closed here, so let's restart the Teams app. See if Teams is happier on my computer now. And I'm happy to take any questions. If there's any questions from folks there about avatars or what we've talked about so far, feel free to ask away. I can share a couple things that we've seen in the Microsoft Speakers Club related if there aren't questions. Looks like we have Ben in the lobby. And then we have Dan Rey in the lobby. Let's let Dan back in. Let's see if I can lower my mic on the second machine there. So one thing that's come up with avatars is where is the business use for this versus video? And a couple of things that I've noticed in using custom backgrounds or just video in general is just the video fatigue of feeling like I have my video on all of the time. As a trainer, a lot of times I'll have my video on from the beginning of a class to our breaks, and then I'll get kind of a break from being on video, but I'll put my video back on as soon as I launch into training. So the video fatigue that you may feel from just being on video all of the time is one of the things that you can alleviate by using avatars. The thing I've found with avatars, though, is it's not using your actual camera. I assumed that maybe in different iterations, Microsoft tested having the camera on, so the facial expressions or the gestures were mimicked from your gestures. And Microsoft fairly recently put in, I think it's about 15 of the Snapchat filters. However, the Snapchat filters that I'm most fond of, the ones like Cartoon, that just take my video feed and my actual background and throw it into like a cartoon overlay, if you will, are something that I haven't seen in Teams just yet. But I would imagine if they're already doing a partnership with Snap and some of the Snap video filters, you may see some of those that are doing something kind of augmenting your actual video in the future. The other thing that the video avatars do allow you to play around with is together mode. So if I have multiple participants using avatars, those avatars can also sit within the different views that I have for the together mode scenes. And those scenes can either be together mode defaults, or within changing the scene, I don't know if I have any uploaded here. I believe these are just the defaults. You can actually create your own scenes for together mode. So I do have the ability off of the dev.microsoft.com site or dev.teams.microsoft.com to create my own scenes for together mode. And it looks like Microsoft was spot on with the change for authenticator to numbers. Here I've got a friends of friends scene and a boardroom scene. So let's see if I've got those uploaded into, doesn't look like they're showing up in this meeting, probably because this is a meeting I was invited to, not a meeting that I am the owner of. But you can see here that I've got a couple together mode scenes that are available to people coming to my meetings. This one, Friends of Friends, I just took a Lego Friends scene and I popped on it up to 16 video feeds in different spots on this Friends. It looks like the coffee shop Lego set. So by doing that, you could use those in your custom together mode scenes and use the avatar functionality as well. Go back to the main window here and see if we have any other questions. It looks like Pete's typing here. Well, I'm waiting. Yeah,
Sorry,
that could
I was
be.
just saying, yeah, it's just saying for those who are in the room, it could be because we're running under the Microsoft.com tenancy for this meeting. There are several restrictions and other things that are in place in the Teams environment here that aren't restricting things in external tenancies.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably either policy in yours or some other type of restriction, because those custom together mode scenes I know are uploaded into my tenant. So if I hosted this meeting and sent you the link, the recording would be in my tenant. You know, some of the policies might be in my tenant. And I believe in this tenant, I'm trying to recall if I turned on the Teams Premium functionality yet. Like in one of my tenants, I have like the custom lobby and some of the other Teams Premium features as well. Yeah, so in my computer that's running the Dan avatar, I've got a, let's see what the GPU is doing right now that we've been in the, it's running about 62 degrees centigrade and it's using about 3.7 of the 6 gig dedicated GPU memory. And this is a 16 gig total machine. So it's a little heavier GPU load from the available services on that computer than on my Surface Pro 9, which is still running at about, let's take a look. We don't get the temperature, it doesn't look like out of here, but we do get the fact that it's using about 1.4 out of 7.7 gigabytes of GPU memory. And the Surface Pro 9 that I'm using is the ARM-based LTE version. So it's not the Intel version of the Surface Pro 9. This is the kind of the newer version of the Surface Pro X computer. So other things that I've noticed in the new TAP tenant that I'm part of, we do have the ability to turn on and off the new Teams. However, the avatars have not made it to the new Teams 2.0. So I've spent more time in just the regular Teams version or application because of the ability to run with the avatars. And I also have I think if there's other main features that I've ran across here, I think the files view was the other thing that I ran into, that new look similar to what you showed from the Microsoft 365 conference. So instead of recent and Teams files and downloads, I get home, which opens up files that are within my OneDrive. I get my files, shared files, and then downloads in the files dialog box. And then if I take a look at my about and versioning, I'm running the ARM-based 64 and still the Electron build as opposed to the React build, and it looks like it was updated today. So Teams clients would be the other thing that you would potentially see differences in ARM versus the 64-bit Intel builds of Microsoft Teams when you're using these features. But with that, we've taken a look at the avatar functionality. On this computer, I'm sure I can bring up the avatar editor as well to edit Satya's look and clothing. So the avatar builder allows you to make adjustments to your virtual appearance, including things like your body shape, any prosthetics, your skin tone, and then they have face features, your hair or your absence of hair, the appearance, including other aspects of your facial, and then anything from a outerwear and clothing perspective. So if I want to take off a jacket and maybe do something a little more casual or long sleeve, I can look at different options that I have within the gallery of clothing. And then anything I save to my avatar becomes available when I'm using the avatar functionality within Microsoft Teams. Yes, Pete, that is true.
Sorry for those in the room. Just repeating for those in the room who can't see the chat. You can set up multiple avatars with different clothing and looks, and then choose which avatar you want to use for a particular meeting.
Very cool.
So I could go with something more formal, less formal, Microsoft colors, and then save that as a second avatar.
Have a beard one day if you didn't shave.
Exactly. 5 o'clock shadow or whatever you might need. And even glasses, no glasses, different options in how you're represented from a standpoint of eyewear. So throw on some glasses, change the color of the frame, maybe do a Teams purple, and then have that as an option as well in meetings. If I've customized that, then I bet I have to go back to avatars here and just select one of the others and apply avatars. There we go. So that switches my avatar.
Quick change artist.
Yep. And then you have the ability to spotlight your avatars. So if I want to focus things on Satya in our meeting, Satya sounds a lot like Dan Rey in this meeting. But I'm guessing this is the first time you've had him in your user group. Is that true?
That is true. Absolutely.
I had a couple people I collaborate with. The first time I did this, they thought he was really in the meeting.
So how long is it before AI can take over this and I don't have to attend meetings anymore?
It's already happened. There are guys who've actually, there's somebody who's actually done that. They recorded themselves beforehand with different gestures and different things, different responses to things. And then for an entire week, they had themselves with AI running them in team meetings. So it has actually been done.
How do you think Such is here now?
Right. I'm not actually here, so that's fine.
Yeah, no problem.
You can also apply different background effects, different virtual backgrounds with your avatars as well.
Yeah, so in the same way that I haven't tried it on the Surface Pro 9 here, but in the same way that I was able to look at a picture from my home, if I go to the very bottom where you have experimental settings and custom backgrounds, besides the avatar backgrounds that are default with Teams, this is where I could add new wallpapers. And then from those new wallpapers, add those as a custom background to Microsoft Teams. And then I can also do things like exit spotlights to control the video if a number of people have their video on. That can also affect the recording as well when you're spotlighting video versus just letting video make decisions about where it exists either on the screen for participants or in the recording.
Additionally, I
as
don't know
well.
if it's been fixed yet, but if you had a background with a custom background with too high resolution, it used to flip it. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but if you find that your background is upside down for some reason, go and save a lower resolution version of it and use that instead.
Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't ran into that here just yet, but this, the custom avatar backgrounds is one of those things that they're saying is experimental at this point. So haven't ran into that just yet, but the Bing backgrounds or other things that I've used for backgrounds. I'm a big fan of the IT crowd, so a lot of times my virtual background of choice would be the IT crowd basement from the BBC show.
I sometimes put myself on the bridge of various starships from different sci-fi shows.
There you go. My wife's company was doing they had a Project Vulcan, and one of the people in a meeting was in one of the Star Trek bridges, and she asked, "Oh, is that because of Project Vulcan?" And the person said, "No, this is just my background, not a particular project that may be the reason that you choose that as your background." Cool. Well, thanks for the invite. Are there any other questions or?
No questions? I like it. Nice and easy.
You want to just drag that avatar mood bar left and right just to show us how that affects it?
The mood one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the other thing that I haven't played around with a lot. One of the people that we had on an avatar specific Azure and AI show, so we did a avatar kind of show and tell on a Friday, and one of our attendees was complaining about the kind of the resting face of the avatar. So when you're not speaking, the avatar doesn't necessarily pick up your gestures because it's not using video. But the mood didn't necessarily change kind of this this resting behavior of the avatar. But the smile or the more happy should give you more of a almost smiling on the corners of the mouth versus more of a neutral look of your avatar. Then you can either turn off your avatar, edit your avatar, and have those three. They don't have to be based on the same build perspective. So you might have noticed in mine that I, instead of using the same avatar look for all three, you could make adjustments to facial features, eye color, eye shape. So these can be either three that are very, very similar or three that are very, very different from your original avatar. And then clothing as well. But things like facial hair are options as well. Then you could have something that looks totally different than maybe your actual appearance or your regular appearance.
It's definitely a way to make yourself look thinner or have more hair.
Exactly.
I'm waiting for the licensing deals when I can be Iron Man or the Hulk or something else as well.
Oh, that's the new snap filters.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I was going to say the snap filters is an interesting partnership because instead of having to install the snap camera, I think is what I installed. If it ships with Teams, I'm sure the licensing will be the other piece that, you know, at some point gets picked up or, you know, put through what's crossed over just with Teams itself. But some of the filters that they do where they're taking into account the video, so you're getting your actual gestures, not the gestures that or reactions that you're choosing from a menu, would be interesting as well. But I'd say this is like a lot of features in Teams. There's either people that are, you know, playing around with it and experimentation is happening. And, you know, you're catching bugs like on a system that has a dedicated GPU, but is having some issues. I'm running Windows 10 on my Surface Studio as well, so I haven't played around. It was dual boot between Windows 11 and Windows 10. I need to reinstall a more recent version of Windows 11 and see if that corrects any of the GPU or the avatar issues that I've had under Windows 10. But this Surface Pro 9 is a Windows 11 build. And then the nice thing about the avatars are they can, you know, coexist, or you can still turn back on your actual video as an option too on these computers. So it just gives you an option if there's something where you want to be on camera, but you're not maybe camera ready, or you're not in an area where a virtual background is the most convenient. You can really get creative with having video turned on, but you know, a digital representation as opposed to a physical.
That's it. Any questions? No? All right. We can wrap up then. Thank you very much, Dan.
Thanks so much. Appreciate the time. It was nice to see a Microsoft office I haven't been to. I see a Surface Hub there in the corner.
Yes, absolutely.
There is. I'll stop the recording now.
Excellent.
Perfect.